Welcome to Faith, Fiction, and Folklore, or as we like to call it, the Tri-F Podcast, where we try not to mess the podcast up. And how are you today, Trevor?
I'm all right. I'm a little out there, but not here.
A little loopy, a little tired.
No, I wouldn't say tired, just not aware of where I'm at.
What are you, high on Tylenol?
I wish. No, I just took the Tylenol a few minutes ago. It should not have kicked in just yet.
Oh! You know what I forgot? I apologize. I forgot to play this. I'm such an idiot.
Let's play
How
it.
could I have forgot? I spent like so long working on this. Yes, boys and girls, excuse me for a minute.
You're excused. Well, while you're excused,
hang on.
I'm going to say a dad joke.
Not yet. Wait. I meant to play that after the shorts, but I forgot, so the joke fell flat. Whatever. Okay, go ahead and say your dad joke.
What did the vet say to the cat?
Meowth.
How are you feline?
Ah, speaking of horrible jokes, the Epstein list came out today. So, sort of.
Oh, yay. Today? I thought it was Friday.
Friday, yeah, last night. You know, at the 11th hour, right as everybody's getting off of work. And then just to make sure nobody was paying attention, they bombed Syria. You know, not a cover-up at all. But before we get into that...
someone like me wouldn't notice.
Yeah, basically. So anybody who wasn't paying very close attention wouldn't notice. That was the, dare I say, that was the point. But anyhow. So,
bunch of commies, if you ask me.
What? No, not at all. Not at all. Perfect upstanding citizens. Okay, but before we get into that, we're going to do our Bible reading. And I think... I think we're going to need... Yeah. We're going to start with reading the Bible, because I think that would be a good thing to do, considering the circumstances. But we've been doing that anyway, so yeah.
We're going to continue with that.
And then,
where are we at?
We're in chapter 5, Genesis chapter 5.
Sweet. Yeah. Isn't that where they do the name begat?
Yes, we'll get into that in a minute. So we're going to start with the Genesis 5, and then we're going to go into as much detail as I've been able to find on the Epstein list so far. And we're going to talk to everybody and kind of get an opinion, because I'm not sure whether or not to keep my spiteful logo up on the overlay, because on the one hand, Trump did sign to have these things over, like to release the Epstein list. So he did what I wanted him to do, but at the same time, the FBI was incredibly spiteful, and we have nowhere near what we're supposed to. But anyway, I'll talk about that here in a little bit. But we're going to do the Bible reading first, then we're going to talk about Epstein, and then we're going to end the show on monitoring spirits?
Monitoring spirit.
Okay.
From Bob Larson.
Okay.
I love Bob Larson. He's pretty cool.
Well, there you go. All right, well, first, we're going to begin with our Bible reading. So let me get that set up. I should have got that set up already.
You didn't have it set up?
I do now. We're good now. So, do you want to read it or shall I?
Let's see. This is the book of the generations of Adam from the King James Version. Sorry.
Yep.
In the day that God created man, in the likeness of God made he him. I sound like Yoda. Feels like Yoda.
Push through. Or do you want me to keep going?
Male and female created he them, and blessed them, and called their name Adam in the day when they were created. And Adam lived 130 years, and begat a son in his own likeness, and after his image, and called his name Seth. Could you imagine having a kid at 130?
Yeah, I can't imagine being alive at 130.
That's crazy to me. It's like
Yes.
I'm barely scraping by at 35, and it's like, well, Adam was 130 when he had Seth. That's crazy.
Well, do you believe in the dates that are presented in the genealogies? Is that something that or do you think they're like symbolic or something?
No, I believe that they were able to live longer because it was just a healthier environment.
Think so?
It was easier to breathe and how does Ken Alvin put it with the whole globe type
I think
enclosure
I think
system?
his theory was what the canopy theory. There was
Canopy theory.
higher oxygen pressure or air pressure and higher oxygen, and they were able to live longer because there was less radiation and a lot of things
Yeah,
like that. So,
that's crazy.
yes, that is one theory. I mean, I'm inclined to believe like I don't buy like all of like the creationist narrative, but that is one thing I do find kind of compelling because they did have to have an environment that was dramatically different because you couldn't get a Tyrannosaurus Rex, for example, today either.
Yeah,
You couldn't get a Bronchiosaurus. It's not that they went extinct; they
because they
literally
wouldn't
couldn't
be,
survive.
they would suffocate.
Right.
So
So
we're at verse 4. And
yes.
the days of Adam after he had begotten Seth were 800 years, and he begat sons and daughters. So he lived for 800 years. You got a lot of kids in 800 years.
Mm-hmm. You can
Verse,
indeed.
verse 5. And all the days that Adam lived were 930 years, and then he died. And Seth lived 105 years and begat Enos. And Seth lived after he begat Enos 807 years, and begat sons and daughters. And all the days of Seth were 912 years, and he died. So just between those two, they could have had lots of kids that spread all over the place.
Yep.
And who knows where.
That is correct.
Verse 9. And Enos lived 90 years and begat Canaan. And Enos lived after he begat Canaan 815 years, and begat sons and daughters. And all the days of Enos were 905 years, and he died. And Canaan lived 70 years, and begat Mahalalel. Did I say that right? Mahalalel?
Mahalalel. I'm going to say yes because I don't want to say it myself. So, Mahalalel. We're going to say that. Mahalalel. Mahalalel. All right. Sorry, go on.
Verse 13. And Canaan lived after he begat Mahalalel 840 years, and begat sons and daughters. And all the days of Canaan were 910 years, and he died. And Mahalalel lived 60 and 5 years, and begat Jared. Well, Jared's easier to say than Mahalalel.
That is true. Probably because he got tired of trying to say his own name. It's like, I'm naming my kid Jared. This is ridiculous.
Just call me Maha.
We're going to 2 syllables. We're going to 2 syllables limit on the names here.
Yeah. And Mahalalel lived after he begat Jared 830 years, and begat sons and daughters. And all the days of Mahalalel were 895 years, and he died. And Jared lived 162 years, and he begat Enoch. Ooh, do you think the book of Enoch is real?
I think it was written. I basically agree with Wes Huff. I think it was probably written about the time of the Maccabees. I don't think it's actually the one that we got. I kind of doubt is the one that we're supposed to have. I'm a little dubious about it. What about you? Do you think it's real?
Yes.
Why?
I don't know. I I like to believe in stuff until it can be proven not real to me. It's just my own personal way of looking at things. I think they're real until I can, someone can tell me and show me with proof it's not real.
Gotcha. You be careful of that. It's very difficult to prove a negative.
Right.
It's very difficult to prove that unicorns don't exist. So
Well, that's because they do exist.
we'll see. There you go. See, that's why the burden of proof is on you, though, because that's the affirmative claim.
Yeah,
So-
I have to prove that they are real now
Yeah.
that I've said that, right?
Yeah, right. You gotta provide
Maybe we'll
something.
do it. Maybe we'll do an episode on finding unicorns.
Finding unicorns. So I've got a whole bunch of stuff pulled up on fairies. Apparently, people believe in fairies still.
Yeah.
That is a
fairies
thing.
And unicorns and mermaids.
Yeah,
Maybe we should do stuff on those.
it's on the to-do list
Sweet.
behind all the Jesse Lee Peterson videos and the plethora of other things we said we were gonna do.
And the decades of Epstein.
Oh yes, it's Epstein stuff. But we'll stay focused on.
Stay focused.
On
Okay,
this, so we get through it.
verse
So-
18.
Yes.
And Jared begat Enoch and 19. And Jared lived after he begat Enoch 800 years and begat sons and daughters. And all the days of Jared were 962 years, and he died. And Enoch lived 65 years and begat Methuselah. And Enoch walked with God after he begat Methuselah 300 years and begat sons and daughters. And all the days of Enoch were 365 years. And Enoch walked with God, and he was not, for God took him. So Enoch was there, and then, not there. And God was like, let's go.
Mm-hmm.
That's crazy. See, that's why I want to believe in the Book of Enoch so bad, right there. Is because God took him, and just like if he wrote a book or had writings, it would be really nice to learn from that.
Yeah, well, the thing is like the Book of Enoch is referenced in Jude, and
Really?
I think it's Jude, yeah, and that kind of makes you wonder how valid is it supposed to be, because it's like, okay, well, if something is referenced by an apostle as something to look up, does that mean it's valid, or is he just using it as an example? You know what I mean?
I got you. Yeah.
For some other point, and you're not supposed to take the whole thing as inerrant. So it's like if so that's a question I'd like to ask a scholar who believes in inerrancy. It's like if an apostle references a book, does that mean the book is valid? And was Jude talking about the Book of Enoch that we have, or was he talking about this one that was written during the Maccabees era?
Oh, there's another Book of Enoch?
Well, they might even be the same. I don't know. Because it's like, I think of course, it's modern scholarship. You know what I mean? That's one thing of that. Like, I'm not super familiar with the debate. I tend to default to West Huff because I don't agree with him on everything, but I kind of, I think he's tries. I don't think he's like intentionally inaccurate or something. I don't think he's got an agenda.
He's obviously well read and put in the hours.
Yes, but I've read enough about Westcott and Hort to literally despise everything they've ever done. So I'm like, if the methodology that Wes Huff is using is borrowing from Westcott and Hort, as much as I like Wes Huff, I don't know if I could trust it, and I don't know if it would be good to use their dating methods to determine how old the Book of Enoch is, if that makes any sense.
Right. Yeah,
So-
just because someone talks smart doesn't mean they are that smart.
Well, it's not necessarily Wes Huff's fault. It's just, it's like evolution. You know what I mean? The current mode of textual criticism. It's like, believe this because it's the consensus, and consensus is God. I mean, God is God, but consensus is a close second, you know.
Yeah.
So I get a little dubious about it. But, I mean, I'm largely ignorant on the subject. But, yeah, if Jude... But I guess the core question is, if Jude references the Book of Enoch, does that mean that it could be inerrant?
I don't
know. I personally, just speaking from an emotional level, I would prefer if Enoch were not true, because I don't really believe this idea that the angels could not be redeemed. Like, just from a doctrinal standpoint, I disagree with that. So it kind of makes me emotionally more dubious about the Book of Enoch.
So you think God would forgive them for rebelling if they came to repentance?
Oh, yeah. I think he would. I think the issue is that... because it's like... if it's just like people... You know, people have such a hard time with forgiveness and grace.
Yeah, we do.
And just accepting that God... You know, we love it for ourselves, but... Boy, that neighbor who mows his lawn and dumps his clippings into my yard... He deserves to go to hell. He deserves to go to hell. God would surely not forgive that man and his grass clippings. You know what I mean?
Does he actually do that?
No. Fred's a wonderful person. That's an example. But, you know what I mean? Like, we have our little petty grievances.
Right.
You know, Joyce Meyer has this saying, we look at ourselves with rose-colored glasses, but we look at everybody else with a magnifying glass. I think that's incredibly apt. And I think there's a lot of people who badly desire there to be a hell because they cannot abide the idea of redemption and grace. Because that means somebody they don't like might get it, you know?
Yeah.
And I think there are some people that are just self-righteous enough to throw themselves into the mouth of hell when they find out that neighbor they don't like is going to be in heaven with them, you know?
Yeah. They don't want to deal with them in heaven.
Yeah. It's like, well, I don't want to be here if you're here. I really do think there are people like that. I think there are people that are that spiteful. And, you know, I've always kind of subscribed to the idea that hell is locked from the inside and that the rebellion isn't so much, you know, God saying, oh, you broke the rules, you're not worthy. It's spite. It's, well, I did all this work, and you mean I'm just as valuable as that other guy? I'm not better than him at all? I'm going to go to hell. Forget this. I don't want to be here. What do you mean the first shall be last and the last shall be first? That's bullcrap.
That would explain why he threw him down to earth instead of straight to hell. Give him a chance, an opportunity.
See, I think, and this is just my own personal sentiment, I think sometimes God's wrath is us getting exactly what we want. And I think hell is basically a lot of people getting exactly what they want. But people don't weigh the cost. They don't ask themselves, okay, what does it mean to live without God, really? You know what I mean?
Yeah, some people, like me personally, also, we only get a taste of what it is to live without God completely, because if he was to pull back his protection completely, like Job, the devil and the darkness, they would have their way with us. It'd be awful.
Mm-hmm.
So,
which is what I think might be happening. Our country might be headed in that direction, but we'll get to that here in a minute. But yeah, I don't think that the angels or whatever, the watchers, whatever, did something so bad that God just obstinately refused to forgive them. I'm like, that's not how I think God does things. And I don't see any reason in Scripture to think that there's an instance where he would. Like, good night. The devil himself is still, like, allowed into the kingdom to an extent. You remember Job? Where the devil shows up, and God's like, where you been?
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, I've been walking around the earth, you know.
Yeah, 2 and 4th, and God's like, have you considered my servant Job?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And what do you think that is an incredibly suggestive story about the relationship between God and the devil.
Yeah.
It's almost
He's
like
still his
there's a
father at the end of the day.
yeah, well, it's almost like there's a long-standing bet is not the right word, but there's a conflict, a disagreement. The
Yeah.
devil does not believe mankind is worthy of God's affection or something to that effect. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it's just the same as flipping people. People justify the horrible things that they're doing by going, well, basically everybody's selfish and everybody's just like me, and if they were put in my position, they'd do what I do. But that's essentially what the devil is saying to God. You know, when God starts talking about how great Job is, the devil's like, oh yeah, well, if you weren't so nice to him, he'd act just like me. Nah. You know.
Yeah. This sounds just like a lot of people, actually.
Yes, exactly. They rationalize their own degeneracy by saying everybody's just as bad as I am. You know? And
Yep.
so, given that those motifs are in other places in Scripture, I have a very hard time believing that Enoch is, or at least the version that we have, is accurate, because the idea that God would just immediately wash his hands of somebody because they do something bad, I'm like, no, normally people reject him. Like,
Yeah.
it's not that, it's like God is constantly reaching out to people and people reject him. That's the theme, and I don't see why that would be any different with the angels.
Yeah. Or like Adam and Eve, they just want to hide from him.
Yeah, and they blame each other.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they don't admit what they did. They blame each other. They hide from him. They, you know, it's not until they're cornered, basically.
So there's
They have
nowhere
to,
else to go but up.
yeah. And so it's like, I think in a large measure we separate ourselves. You know, I don't think it's a deal where God is like, oh, you did that thing, I'm so mad, because he knows what we are.
Yeah.
And I think it would be the same case for the angels. And I don't see, it's like people want God to be perfectly just with them.
Yeah.
But when it comes to even like the demons of hell, it's like, well, you know, there's something special about being human. That's why the demons are so mad, because, you know, we're so great and God gave us mercy. But he didn't give those angels mercy because he didn't like them as much for some reason. We don't know why, but we're pretty cool. It's ego. It's like somehow, some way, people always find a way to make themselves superior to something or someone else. And I feel like the message that the angels are like rejected by God, I feel like it feeds into human ego, not God's divine justice. So I suspect it. I'm very suspicious about the book.
You suspicious person, you.
I am.
Where were we? Verse 25. And Methuselah lived 187 years and begat Lamech. Or is it Lamech? Lamech or Lamech? Lamech? I like that better. And Methuselah lived after he begat Lamech 782 years and begat sons and daughters.
All right.
And all the days of Methuselah were 969 years, and he died. Verse 28. And Lamech lived 182 years and begat a son, and he called his name Noah. Yay, Noah! I know a guy. You want to build a boat?
Oh my goodness, that deserves punishment.
And he called his name Noah, saying, the same shall comfort us concerning our work and toil of our hands, because of the ground which the Lord hath cursed. And Lamech lived after he begat Noah 595 years, and begat sons and daughters. And all the days of Lamech were 777 years, and he died. And Noah was 500 years old, and Noah begat Shem, Ham, and Japheth.
All right. Apologies. I just realized that the chat is down, so I'm having to reset it up. So you might need to stall for me. Are we done with chapter 5 already?
Yeah, that was the. I believe that was the end of chapter 5. So.
Ah, okay. Hang on a minute. Bear with me here. I've got to get everything kind of redone. Okay.
Okay. Well,
We
while
should
you're
be good.
doing that,
All right, we should be good. That was easier than I thought. How about that? Ha ha ha.
what was easier than you thought?
Getting the chat fixed. So we're on Noah, huh? So Noah was 500 years old, and Noah begat Shem, Ham, and Japheth.
Yep.
All right, so that's chapter 5.
Chapter 5. You want to keep going or
We have
call it?
got 2 minutes left, so I think
2
we ought
minutes.
to just have some final thoughts before we move on to chapter 6 next week, because we're not gonna be able to really hit chapter 6 very well.
Ad
Super
lib for a
detailed.
little bit.
Yeah. So they have charts when it comes to the young Earth creationist crowd on this stuff. They have charts with these
Oh, yeah?
genealogies. Have you seen Kent
Yeah.
Hovind's chart?
Yes.
Let me see if I can
I've
pull it
seen
up actually, real quick.
Do you want me to read the word of the day while you're doing it?
Sure.
Word of the day. Imbroglio. An extremely confused, complicated, or embarrassing situation. Imbroglio.
Imbroglio, huh?
Here's an example sentence. What started as a simple misunderstanding about carpool duty turned into a full-blown family imbroglio by the weekend. Bless you.
Thank you. So I got the chart up. Can you see it?
Yes, I can see it.
So this is the claim. They got you've got Adam, who lives to be about 135, an additional 800 years. And so it's like, if you follow this chart out, they say it gets you to about 6,000 years of human history. That's where they get the idea that the Earth
Wow.
is 6,000 years old. Have you seen this before?
Yeah, I've seen this. Yeah, Kent Hovind has one just like it. Yeah.
Yeah, Ken Hovind used to show this all the time.
Yep.
See, I don't know if I buy this. I've always kind of wondered if the numbers might represent something else, but I have no idea.
What are you not sure about buying?
The idea that the numbers are their actual ages. But I could be wrong about that. I've always just been a little suspicious of it.
Yeah, I think having it in instead of the bar like this, if they did like family tree type looking deal,
Yeah, well,
would make more sense.
yeah,
That's just me.
I don't know. See, because it's like it's not in this particular genealogy, but when you get into Nimrod and Peleg and some of the later genealogies, it's like those names start to mean. It's like at the beginning, Adam just means man. You know what I mean? And then what was it? Kent Hovind says Peleg the day the earth means the day the earth was divided, and then Nimrod means hunter of men, and so it's like, okay, well, if these names are starting to take on specific meanings, wouldn't that suggest that the name's indicative of an era or something? And maybe that means the numbers mean something different. But I'm just speculating. I mean, it could be literal. I don't know.
Well,
But
you know, they started, didn't they used to name their kids' names based on how they like were acting, and like if they looked up and saw, okay, this kid was born because there's a whale going by, what's the meaning of that? And they correlated it with that.
I don't know. We need a young Earth creationist to come on here and explain this to us, because I don't know.
Don't know.
Yeah, I don't know at all. So, yeah, but that's Genesis 5. Any other closing thoughts?
So I need to get Kent Hovind on there and see what he thinks.
Yeah, I'd be curious to see what he has to say on it. The genealogies have always puzzled me. Like, they've always been a big hang up for me as to what they mean and how to how to interpret them if you don't interpret them literally. Because I know the young Earth creationists interpret them literally, but there's been other people that have said, yeah, but it could mean something else. And I'm like, okay, I mean, I'm open to that, but what else?
Yeah,
You
what
know
else
what I
could it
mean?
mean?
Like, yeah, like what? Because I have always heard, just in passing, not ever in any detail, that the numbers meant something symbolic and the names meant something symbolic, and there's some correlation between the two. That's always what I've heard, but I've never heard anybody go into detail. It's just something I heard growing up in church.
Well, maybe we could look into it.
Yeah, that would be... Add that to the list of things to look up. But that's something I don't... That is one thing I don't know. The genealogies have always stumped me.
Yeah.
So, anyway.
I've always just not really paid attention when the pastor was like, begat. I'm just going to pass out.
And then you wish you'd paid attention because then you get older and you're like, I don't know what this means.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, anyway.
I'll just give it to God and see what he tells me.
You know what would be really interesting would be, ultimately God is going to let the truth be known in his own time. But what would be really interesting to me would be to get somebody who's a young earth creationist and somebody who's not, who has like another like more symbolic view. I'd love to see two of these guys debate about the genealogies. I think that'd be very fascinating. But I'm largely ignorant on the topic, so it won't be me. I don't know anything about this, or at least not much about it.
Maybe I'll see if I can find it, because Kent Hovind has had those type of debates
With people regarding the genealogies?
Yeah.
That would be interesting. We might have to try
I'll
to
see if
find
I
that
can
and look it
find
up.
one.
Yeah, that'd be fun. Yeah. Okay. Well, I think we're done with part 1.
Heck yeah.
All right. So, guys, if you are watching us on the live stream, stay with us. We have got 2 more segments left. If you are watching this after the fact, thank you so much for watching, and we will see you next time.
Thank you.
We hope you enjoyed this episode of Faith, Fiction, and Folklore. If you did, we would love it if you would subscribe to us on YouTube or follow us on Rumble. We can also be found on X, Instagram, and Facebook. And we are available on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, and iHeartRadio. Thank you again very much for listening, and we'll see you next time.